We're here with House Minority Leader Joe Hackney to discuss House Bill 200, the Appropriations Act. I'm not going to waste a question asking you if you like this budget. I know where you stand on that. But how well do you think the Republicans did in matching this bill against what they promised North Carolinians they'd do if they were elected last November?
Well, they failed. What they promised they would do is that they could craft a budget without extending the temporary taxes and still protect education and health care and core services in North Carolina, and they simply did not do that. There's severe damage to many parts of state government if their budget were to be enacted, most especially to education, but also our jobs programs, and the courts and many other parts of state government.
How can there be such a huge difference of opinion? Because the Republicans say no health and human services are going to be diminished. They found all the money in savings and in efficiencies, and every school teacher's job is preserved. And I've heard the Democrats say that's not so either.
Well, you don't have to believe me for that. We've had the Department of Public Instruction run the numbers, and we've had a lot of feedback from our local districts about the numbers, and there will be at least 18,000 school personnel let go under this budget, many of them teachers, specifically designated to be fired are all the second and third grade teacher assistants. Many custodians and lunchroom workers and bus drivers and that sort of thing. And there's a discretionary cut passed down to the local administrative units, which will result in a lot of teacher firings and layoffs as well. We know that because they already took cuts in the last two budgets. So to give them flexibility when they don't really have any place to use that flexibility anymore is not to do anything to save jobs.
I've heard debate that saving the temporary sales tax or some amount of it would offset public education cuts. But the Republicans say they can free up $1 billion for working people, put it back in their pockets. Democrats have proposed keeping that sales tax for now. What do you make of the cash flow argument, whether it flows into the pockets of working people versus it stays as state revenue and is spent on education and other parts of state government?
Well, the first thing to say about it is that do we want to compromise education, our public universities, our public schools, with the loss of over 3,000 jobs in the university system, at least hundreds in the community college system, and the 18 to 25,000 that I talked about in the public schools. You know, we only lost, we lost 310,000 jobs in this recession in North Carolina. That's the number the economists give us. You pile 20, 30,000 new job losses on top of that, that's a big hit. And it will have its own economic impact, and some believe it will result in a dip back into recession for our state. So it's not something that's to be done as lightly as the other party appears to be taking it. It is, of course, true that if you put money back in the economy as a general concept, some jobs should be created in the private sector by that. But at what cost, at what long-term damage to our reputation as a state for rising education, for excellent community colleges, and always available universities?
The Republicans of both the House and Senate say they have been working together for a few months now on a budget, presumably to make it easier to negotiate a final compromise. How closely are you working with Governor Perdue, because your chamber has maintained her vetoes on a few other bills? Do you talk to her?
Well, we do. We keep in contact with the governor, and I might mention, as to your first point, that the first part of this appropriations process was a totally closed process. The latter part of it, with the open appropriations hearings at the end and the open floor debate on second reading, they followed our tradition the same way we did it, and to let all amendments be heard. But the initial putting together of the budget was all behind closed doors. But we talked to the governor. The governor has a set of defined priorities. She wants to protect the classroom above all else. And we don't believe, and she doesn't believe, that this budget protects the classroom by any measure. And so we are staying in touch on those issues for sure.
I want to ask you about those 5 House Democrats that crossed over and supported the Republican majority on this bill. As of now, we can only speak to the president. That's a veto-proof majority.
Well, I think if you talk to them, as I have, and if you even see their comments in the paper and the press, they indicated that that vote was for that day only. And I think if the governor should determine in her best interests and the best interest of the school children of the state that the ultimate budget gets vetoed, I believe the Democrats will be united in supporting the governor on that veto. You won't know until the final product is produced, but I believe that's the result.
Representative Hackney, thank you so much for being on the show this week.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.